Hi, this is Miss Lee, and today's video lesson is on multiplying decimals. The number of decimal places in the product is the sum of the decimal places in the factors. So make sure that you're filling in your notes. If you don't have your notes with you, I would definitely be writing them down on a sheet of paper. So remember that when you multiply, the product is your answer, and factors are the numbers that you multiply together. So if I have three and 5/10 times 1800ths, my answer is going to have 1, 2, 3 decimal places in it. Okay, the number of the decimal places in the product, which is the answer, is the sum of the decimal places in the factors. There's 1 decimal place in the first factor, there's 2 in the second factor, so my answer will have 3 decimal place values. Pretty easy, so let's try some. Okay, we're going to place the decimal point in the correct position. So the math has been done for you. The numbers have been multiplied. We have the answers. We just need to place the decimal point in the correct spot. So I'm going to start at the 1 and 4/10 times 2 and 5600ths. Find this problem on your notes, And I'm going to start with the first factor. I'm going to underline the decimal places. There's 1 decimal place value in the first factor. And remember, we're not talking about the whole numbers. We're talking about the parts. Okay. In my second factor, I have 2 decimal place values. So that's a total of 3 decimal place values. So to find where my decimal point goes in my answer, I start on the right. I start with the very last digit, not the first digit, but the last digit. And I'm going to mark 1 place, 2 place, 3 places. These are my 3 decimal place values, which means my decimal point will go between the 3 and the 5. So my answer is 3 and 584 thousandths. Okay, come on down here to 3/10 times 2 and 4/10. My first factor has 1 decimal place value. My second factor also has 1, so that's a total of 2. So I'm going to start with my last digit, and I'm going to underline it. This is 1 decimal place value. Here's 2 decimal place values. And my decimal point goes in front. Let's try 6/10 times 5/10. Again, same thing. Each factor has 1 decimal place value for a total of 2. So I need 2 in my answer. I start at the very last digit. There's 1, there's 2, then I place my decimal point. Okay, what about this one? 27 and 4300ths times 1 and 89 thousandths. Doesn't matter the size of the numbers, you're still going to place the decimal point the same way. You're going to count. There's 1 decimal place value, 2 decimal place values that are in the first factor. The second factor has 1, 2, 3. So the total number of place values is 5. I'm going to start in my answer. I'm going to start at the very last digit. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I place my decimal point. Let's look at the next one. 4500ths times 53 thousandths. There are 2 decimal place values in the first factor, and there are 3 in the second factor. So that's a total of 5 place values needed in our answer. Start with the last digit. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even though there's not a number there, we still need to draw that 5th place value because we need that in our answer. Then we would put our decimal point. So what do you think is going to go right here in this empty spot? A 0. We're going to annex a 0. Okay, so I'd like for you to go ahead and pause the video and work the last 3 problems on your own, then come back and check your answer. Okay, let's see how you did. 11 and 492 thousandths times 8. There are 3 decimal place values in our first factor. There are none in our second factor, and that's okay. So that just means we need 3 decimal place values in our answer. So you should have placed the decimal point between the 1 and the second 9. 91 and 936 thousandths. Okay, 8 and 3/10 times 2 and 9/10. Did you put the decimal point between the 4 and the 0 so that your answer was 24 and 7/100? If you did, great job. If not, go back, count. Each factor only has 1 decimal place value for a total of 2. And the last example, 14 and 2/10 times 6. Did you place the decimal point between the 5 and the 2 to get 85 and 2/10? If you did, great job. So, to multiply with decimal factors, we multiply the factors if they're whole numbers. And then we place the decimal point in the answer. So many people, when they see decimals, they try to do all sorts of stuff that gets really confusing. You don't need to do any of that. Just multiply as if they were whole numbers. Here we go. If I take away the decimal point, I have 57 times 2. So let's do the math. 57 times 2. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Now go back up. In our factors, we have 1 decimal place value in the first factor. There are none in the second factor, which means I only need 1 decimal place value. There's my decimal point. So my answer is 11 and 4/10. Okay, take away the decimal point, we get the number 305. Take away the decimal point here, and we get 076, but we don't need that 0. We can just call it 76. And multiply. 305 times the 76. You should be doing this in your notes. Make sure you still remember how to multiply. Don't wait for me to do the math for you. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And 6 times 3 is 18. Alright, now I'm multiplying by 2 digits. So this was the digit in the ones place. Now I'm moving over to the tens place, which means I start my answer in the tens place, which means I have to annex a 0 and the ones. Do you remember that? Alright, 7 times 5 is 35. Carry the 3. 7 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. And 7 times 3 is 21. And now we add them up. We've got them nicely lined. 0, 8, 11, carry a 1. This becomes 3, 2. Alright, now we go back, count our decimal places. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 4 decimal places in our answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then place your decimal point. And I want to say, when you're putting in your decimal points, please make them nice and big. If you just kind of go like that, it shows up a little darker than mine, but if you're doing it with a pencil, it might be really light or even smaller than that and hard to see. So since we are working with decimals, the decimal points are important. Make them larger than what you normally would. Okay, pause the video, go ahead and work this last example yourself, then come back and check your answer. Okay, did you get 6 10,000ths? When you take away the decimal points in your factor, you're just left with 2 times 3, which is 6. Then go back and count, and you can see that you need 4 decimal place values. So when you count out your 4 decimal place values, you ended up having 3 zeros that you had to annex. Alright, good job. Let's try a word problem. Jordan makes $7.65 per hour working at Kroger. On Thursday, she worked 7 5/10 hours. How much money did she earn on Thursday? Okay, we know this is multiplication because that's what we're doing, but look for that clue word. Which word tells you to multiply? Did you see the per? Per means you're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply the 765 per whatever number of hours there are, which is 7.5. We're going to write that numerical expression, $7.65, or 7 65/100, times how many hours? 7 5/10. So this is our expression. from here, we can go ahead and take away our decimal points, and we're going to get 765 times 75. So go ahead and pause the video and do the math for me. Okay, did you get 57 and 375 thousandths? If you did, great job. If not, just take a look, see where you made your mistake. Okay, so we need to write an answer statement. The question is asking us, how much money did she earn on Thursday? Well, we know money needs a dollar sign, right? Oops. But this is not how we write money. This is not how we write dollars and cents. Dollars and cents only has 2 places. It goes to the hundreds, not the thousands. So we're going to have to round our answer. And I know you've done this in elementary school. For some reason, once a lot of students get to 6th grade, they've totally forgotten what to do. Our answer needs to go to the hundreds place, so we look at the digit behind it, which is a 5, and that tells us how to round the 7. If that digit is 5 and above, we round the 7 up to an 8. If this was less than a 5, then it would stay as 7. So our answer statement would be, she earned $57.38, because we're going to go up. She earned $57.38. All right, one more problem. This is your check for understanding problem. You're going to work this problem on your own. You're going to do it in GoFormative. Once you're done, GoFormative will let you know if it is correct or not correct. If it is not correct, then you're going to go see your teacher and figure out what's going on and where you're making your mistakes before you start homework. Okay, so this is your check for understanding problem. Oranges are on sale for 79 cents a pound. If Mary buys 2 3/10 pounds of oranges, how much will she pay? Make sure you write your numerical expression, you do your math, show your work in GoFormative, and write your answer statement. All right, good luck.